about the general manager at Pismo's, Sam Behpoor, who was detained by ICE on June 23rd. That article is also on GB Wire, plus a lot of great pictures of him and his 3-year-old son and his wife, who is a U.S. born citizen. Um, so we got a hold of, actually, we talked to Sam and to his wife, and Bill and I interviewed Dave Fansler, who's the restaurateur and the operator and the CEO of the Fansler Group, uh, Pismo's, and 3 other restaurants in North Fresno, who does a fantastic job. And we talked to Dave and said, "Hey, how's Sam? What kind of an employee was he?" He goes, "Oh my gosh, he was with me more than 10 years. Folks love him. My customers love him. People miss him, and I cannot believe that he was picked up. He's been in these United States for 38 years, and I guess he had some kind of a record way back when, which he did his time, got cleaned up, and we don't have all the details. The articles that GV Wire has a lot of those details. He came here when he was 3 years old. I think he fled in the trunk of his mother's car out of Iran, a country that he was born in. Was eventually made it to the United States through Turkey and England. Uh, Now, having said that, some of the questions that Bill and I asked Dave Fansler, which you will see here in a minute, is President Trump, when he was running, when he was campaigning, he said, "Listen, we're going to have the largest deportation plan program that this country has ever seen." Uh, Paul, if you have screenshots of that, let's put that up. Some of the articles that we published last summer. Uh, Reclassification to make, I'm sorry, not anyhow, President Trump has been talking about going after the worst of the worst, picking up folks with criminal backgrounds, uh, and deporting them. If you can be deported back to Iran in this case, if not Africa, some other country. So we have a lot of those slides, by the way, and we have that and a lot of the videos to show you, which is going to be coming up. Bill, and by the way, Bill and I asked. Unfortunately, Mike wasn't there, but Bill and I asked Dave Fansler what should happen, and Dave Fansler, a supporter of a lot of President Trump's policies, and he said, "Hey, he can't believe this is happening. That somebody that's been here 38 years, married with kids, has been paying taxes, hardworking person, is getting picked up and detained." I said, "Dave, President Trump said that candidate Trump, I'm going to pick up all the folks that have got any kind of a background that's not clean," and he's not, coming through on that promise. And he said, he's cleaned everything up. He's made mistakes when he was, 16, 17 years old. So I know there's a lot of interest about him on our social media feed. We've got a lot of calls, and we are putting together a GoFundMe because I'm sure at some point he's going to run out of funds, if he hasn't already, to pay for his legal defense. Let me read a couple of comments that are on our feed. Becky Wharton, what has he done to help himself get legal in the last 20 years? Chris Dowdy has comments on Viva Islas that you can read. Inga, Becky Wharton, and what has his employer done to get his legal status, or his wife, according to
Okay.
From Becky. Mike, it sounds like you're going to jump in, but one. Let me just make a couple of.
Let's blame the victim. I love it. Let's do it. Let's blame the victim. Because it's so easy to become an American. It's so easy with our immigration system. Washington has done such a great job making a pathway to citizenship for someone like Sam. Oh yeah, let's blame the victim. Come on. You
So
know what
he
immigration
go ahead,
policy's been? I'm sorry, Darius.
go
You know
ahead.
what immigration policy's been in this country since Reagan, after Reagan? Don't
There,
ask, don't tell. That's the immigration policy we have in this country. There is no pathway to citizenship, even for someone who messed up when he was a kid, is paying his taxes, is following the law. Now we want the employer to do it. Now we want him to do it. People stay under the radar because they're worried about this exact situation. That's why they don't go report because
So
of this exact thing.
I'm going to jump in here. I mean, here's the reality. He got his green card at 14, and he went to Clovis Unified, Darius, not Fresno Unified. And the events that led to a serious arrest were a day or two after his 18th birthday. And that process went on for a while. And in recent years, he, has done what he can, fearing that he might be deported. He has spent $60,000 trying to regain permanent legal status and be on the pathway to citizenship. The crime has been reduced to what the federal government says is a non-deportable felony. And I think Dave Fansler in our interviews made a great point. If you're going to carry out this deportation program, you better be spot on. In other words, you better not make mistakes. You better afford people the time of going through your record and seeing exactly what happened. Sam told us in a telephone interview that many of the other detainees there in Bakersfield with him have no criminal record. And still they're in this limbo. And we know that reputable news agencies are reporting that 73% of detainees either have no criminal record or no major or violent record. And so what we're seeing is the Trump administration wanting to make headlines, wanting to deport large numbers of people, and they didn't have a plan in place. They didn't have a process in place, and they're continually redoing things on the fly.
what we have heard is that there's a lot of folks in the hospitality, construction, and farming industry that are undocumented. Just can't find local American residents or citizens to fill those jobs. Now, we all want legal folks. They have some kind of a paper that shows that they're legal, but I'm not sure that they are. Now, President Trump, I'm going to ask Bill this. Didn't President Trump ask for a leniency on farm workers? Because, I mean, hey, you would go to a grocery store and there'd be half the stuff will be missing, half the produce will be missing. Didn't President Trump ask for leniency not to deport farm workers that are undocumented?
So he was under considerable pressure a few months ago from Republican lawmakers in agricultural states. And yes, he said, and that was at the time when he brought back the campaign slogan of, we're going to go after the worst of the worst. However, other officials who are in charge of this deportation program have said the opposite. They said it's full speed ahead. I guess what concerns me is what we see in Southern California with ICE agents showing up at Home Depots and the like. I mean, that's just, to me, it's un-American. They're going in, they're just looking for people. It's obvious that there's racial profiling going on. Uh, they don't have specific people that they're seeking to arrest. And that's what ICE does, and it's what it should do. You get an arrest warrant, you identify a person doesn't belong in this country that has a serious criminal record, you go after them. And then you have that hearing and a decision is made. Um, but this just showing up at Home Depots, I mean, to me, it's unexcusable and it's un-American.
We're going to spend a lot of money, and I think President Trump is asking for even more money in the budget to create bigger detention centers and figure out how to deport folks. I mean, one of the questions, if you've been here 20 years, where are you going to get deported to? I think we all agree. You have a criminal history, You're a menace to the society. We've picked you up. You got to get deported. And where I don't know how that the logistics of that. There's uh, hundreds of billions of dollars in picking up, housing, and eventually deporting folks, airplane tickets to or chartering, military planes to take folks somewhere, and then wherever they land, figure out what's going to happen to them, who's going to accept them, which country is going to accept these people. Uh, Before we go to the next video, Mike has a comment.
Yeah,
Mike.
so Darius, you make a really good point. Now, I would hope all of us, regardless of party or where we are in life, would agree. If you are involved in human trafficking, if you're involved in violent crimes, if you're involved in a gang, um, and you meet criteria of violent crime, we will use whatever tool we can to make our community safer, not just from people that are here legally, but also the people that are just law-abiding residents who are working here. But according to what Bill stated, based on reputable news sources, a vast majority of these people being detained don't qualify under that category. But it was sold as going after people that are threatening our borders and threatening our kids and our streets and our and then peddling drugs. But unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be the facts. So none of us should really be surprised this is happening. The president kind of campaigned on this, and he won the election, and elections have consequences. The real question is, how are we going to respond? I think the polling has shown there's a shift in the American people's comfort level with this. And hopefully, people like Dave Fansler and others speak up, because another concern is the economy. Tariffs are going to hurt us economically. You can say it won't, but it will. It's going to cost you and me more to buy consumer goods. And we live in California, which is even more difficult. Now we're going to have businesses losing labor force where the reality is they can't find other people to do the job well that will show up. Maybe you could find someone else, but they probably don't have the work ethic to do it right. And that's going to raise costs as well, or create less options for consumers, which isn't good. Just really appreciate Dave Fansler for defending his employee and coming out. It really does mean a lot coming from him to share the real life example. And I've had people, you'd be surprised at things people text you about, but I've had folks text me about Psalm. I didn't know Psalm myself. It's three different people, and that's surprising in the last week alone. If you heard what happened to this poor guy. So it's resonating, it's getting out there. And I think that the president wants to champion his immigration policy. Stories like this don't help him at all. And was it Bill that said it earlier? You really have to hone in and make sure you're really accurate with the people that are, because you're breaking up families, and those people know people, and they spread the word. And this is not a good look for him.